Seat's 5th generation Ibiza Super Mini is the most credible small car the Spanish brand has ever offered. More sophisticated underpinnings making possible a more spacious cabin and a more dynamic driving experience. If you're shopping in this segment, it's a contender you simply have to try. On the move in this Ibiza, Seat hopes that one of the first things you'll notice is this model's big car feel, something particularly evident in its rigid, rattle-free, road-going demeanour. In part, this comes courtesy of the 30% improvement in torsional stiffness made possible by this Mark V model's more sophisticated MQB A0 chassis. That in turn means flat cornering and benefits ride quality that's unbettered in this class. Now, we're slightly less sure about Seat's decision to extend that same big car feel to the steering, which, as a consequence, is a touch lighter than some really enthusiastic drivers might like. The good news, though, is that you still get enough feedback through your fingertips to keep you well informed on how well the front tyres are gripping on faster, twistier roads. Bottom line? Well, if you'd ideally want a Super Mini with the spaciousness of a Skoda Fabia or a Honda Jazz, and would like the sharp handling of a Fiesta and the supple ride of a Volkswagen Polo, you'll get closer to it with this Seat than with any other class contender we can think of. None of which would be much use if the engines were to let the side down. Fortunately, that's not the case. We can't really see why you'd choose either of the power plants carried over from the previous generation Ibiza lineup, a 1.6-litre TDI diesel and a rather wheezy, normally aspirated entry-level 1-litre MPI petrol unit. But the 1-litre TSI turbo petrol variant we're trying here, that's the one the vast majority of buyers would choose, is very good indeed. This 3-cylinder power plant is primarily offered in 95 PS guise, but there's also a 115 PS variant if you want the option of DSG auto transmission. Either way, 60.1 miles to the gallon is possible on the combined cycle and around 106 grams per kilometre of CO2. Also very frugal is the pokiest option in the lineup, a 150 PS 4-cylinder 1.5 TSI Evo unit, which features cylinder deactivation technology. How do you make a small car bigger without making it, well, bigger? Seat's design chief, Alejandro Mesonera, and his team have here given us a masterclass in delivering just that, aided in no small measure by the sophisticated MQB A0 chassis this 5th generation Ibiza now sits upon. This platform pushes the wheels right out to the corners of the car and, as a result, gains of around 95 millimetres in both overall width and wheelbase length make this a much more spaciously practical Super Mini than its predecessor, despite the fact that the overall length is pretty much unchanged. At the same time, this Mark V model has evolved into a very good-looking small car indeed, thanks to an almost obsessive attention to proportion and detail from the Spanish designers. Time to take a seat up front, which is an area of this car into which a huge amount of design budget was poured, a wise choice on the Spanish brand's part. Seat says that all the controls and instruments have been set as high as possible, though that directive appears to have been ignored in terms of the lowly sighting of these ventilation dials in front of the gear stick. Lower spec models get a humble 5-inch Media System Touch infotainment setup, but further up the range, or as an option, you can get this far superior 8-inch Media System Plus package. It comes with 3D navigation, voice recognition, a DAB audio system with a couple of extra speakers, and the Spanish brand's full-length smartphone mirroring technology that connects your handset into the centre dash screen via either Apple CarPlay or the MirrorLink Android Auto systems. Let's take a seat in the rear. Despite the fact that this 5th generation model is actually 2mm shorter than its predecessor, access is quite acceptable by Super Mini standards. And once inside, The benefits of that extra body width and longer wheelbase will immediately be obvious, not only to owners of the old Mark IV Ibiza, but also, would argue, to those familiar with most other rival products in the Super Mini segment. It's certainly impressive that a car measuring in at only a fraction over 4 metres in length can allow a 6-foot adult to sit comfortably behind a driver or front seat passenger of similar stature. Finally, let's take a look at luggage space out back. Press in the large Seat logo that doubles as a boot release, and the rear hatch opens to reveal 355 litres of luggage space, 63 litres more than the previous generation model could offer. In summary, we're looking here at a car that, like its brand, has matured nicely. One mindful of the fact that modern-day Spaniards need to balance Latin spirit with sober sense. In this Ibiza, they have a small car that does exactly that.